Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. First off, my profound apologies. No, not for the Sixers' play last night, especially in the fourth quarter, or the Phillies just wasting a great outing from Zach Wheeler or anything like that. But just for being so damn late today, I believe this is a Farzy Show disappointing record of, from what I have here, 14 now. We were on, so 14 minutes late, 14 and change minutes late getting started today. Had to do one of them total resets on our computer system, which was just a wild pain in the ass. So my profound apologies, mi scusi, me dispiace, and lo siento, and all that. I don't know how to say that in Okinawan, but Mullet, I apologize to you as well, and everybody in the chat that's just hanging here. Fuji, appreciate you. Mally, Kevin, Sean, Dan, everybody I see. It was basically a perfect storm of Farzy Show villains, such as Duck Rivers, Joe Girardi, I see here in the chat, and who else was? Oh, Mike Silsky, of course. That we were trying to run the computer today, and it just wasn't working out, but I'm glad to be back with you guys right now. Unfortunately, that means it's going to be a little bit of a short show today. I have to do going over to Fox to do a hit at 7:45, so right at 7, a little bit. I'll still push it for you fine people. I'll still push it as late as I possibly can. Hope to get off by the 7:10 maybe for the live people and get out there. So the Sixers played last night, and I have told you for a long time that I am not really looking at James Harden to do anything special. I'm not looking for him to force things. I'm not looking for him to force something the defense isn't giving him, especially if P.J. Tucker's rolling on, especially Bam Adebayo's coming up to D him up as well. I don't need him forcing it against those guys because a couple of bad things are going to happen. Well, one is you're going to miss your shot. Two is you're going to think you're going to get fouled and you're going to miss your shot. Or three, you're just not going to get any points in that possession. Let's fast forward. From the start of the game, Paul Reed not starting again, DeAndre Jordan starting, though he only played a total of 13 minutes in the game last night, as opposed to Paul Reed playing 25. But yeah, DeAndre Jordan's the starter, and that has really helped you out. Like it or not, that's not going to change, unfortunately, unless Joel Embiid is ready for Game 3, and we'll have our locker room report today, brought to you by Rutherford Orthopedics, coming up in just a minute. But let's fast forward about 10 minutes left in the game. Sixers, thanks to Tyrese Maxey, go on a huge run in the game, and they start making some things happen for themselves. And I took note of this. I actually went back after the game and after the press conferences and watched all this again, just to make sure I wasn't overreacting to one particular play. And I'll highlight that play with a little bit more emphasis when I get to it. But Sixers are down 92-84. So they're down 8 points here, 10 minutes left of the game. They go to Paul Reed in the post, who misses a layup. Not his best look, but he misses the layup. Dedmon was on the defense there. Very next possession, James Harden misses a jumper from the foul line. Actually did a good job of dribble drive, penetration, step back to the foul line, misses the little bunny jumper on the front end of the rim. Then the next possession. This is the one that I'm going to put some extra stake on, because as the Sixers aren't scoring here, neither are the Miami Heat in this 8-point game with now about 8:40 remaining in the game. And you don't have Joel Embiid. They got their roster with the exception of Kyle Lowry, and you're not racking up the points anymore. And this is the play that really stuck in my craw last night. This is the play where I said they're not winning. And before I even get into it even more, I didn't expect the Sixers to win either of these first two games. I was not betting on them to win either of these first two games in Miami. They would be lucky to win. They would have to play a perfect game to win any of these games. The reason they haven't won these games is mainly because Joel Embiid isn't playing. And even if Joel Embiid was healthy in these first two games, maybe they split. So let me just get that out of the way before you think I'm blaming for some people on Twitter. They think I'm blaming James Harden for this position the Sixers are in. I am not doing that. The Sixers can't throw the ball in the ocean over these first two games. So I'm not blaming just James Harden. But this is the play last night that really bothered me, because even though you don't have Joel Embiid, and even though you're not expecting Duck Rivers for the people in the chat, to be your coach next year, and even though you realize, as I have, that James Harden is not going to be the savior to the Joel Embiid-less 76ers, it's still frustrating when Your coach won't start the better center in this case in terms of Paul Reed over DeAndre Jordan. And it's also frustrating when James Harden, there's no way he didn't realize, but it's frustrating when James Harden knows that he's got Tyrese Maxey at the top of the key with a mismatch with Bam Adebayo. In other words, he's going to blow by him with no problem whatsoever off the dribble. And James Harden decides instead, let me dribble for about an hour and a half in the corner with Victor Oladipo on me, and let me just force a step-back three that I clank off my side of the rim. That's not the play there, James Harden. That was the play that I looked at and I went, they ain't going to do it. Not that I had some sort of like overwhelming confidence, like, oh, wow, Tyrese Maxey has really turned it on here. He's going to be great. He's going to close things out for the Sixers. This is going to be awesome. No, not that I was feeling that way. But at least I felt like they got a chance. They got a chance. They got a chance. Maybe they steal one. Maybe they hit a couple threes. Maybe this is going to work. And then when Harden released that shot from the corner, I thought if you're passing up on what could be an N1 situation or maybe even a three from Tyrese Maxey because there's no way Adebayo is going to keep up with them from that point, Paul Reed set a screen at the top of the key, which created that mismatch for Maxey. And Harden just decided dribble, step back, miss. When that ball went in the air and left his hand. I mean, you could kind of tell with James Harden right before he even pulls up for the shot that he's going to shoot this. This is all him. This is the James Harden show right now. And I was thinking to myself, there's no way he doesn't go to Maxey, right? Oh, my God, he's not going to Maxey. Oh, my God, he's shooting. You better make it. Miss. And I was thinking, okay, that's the shot that could have pulled it within 5. Very next possession, the ensuing possession on the offensive end for the Heat, they get a bucket, and the Sixers. I mean, look, I give credit to Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey for late in that game, still trying to make somewhat of a game of it, which was great. I mean, it's just good to see those guys compete, even when you know the W isn't there for them. But Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris kept on competing. James Harden was not his best self last night. So as I put it out on social media after the game, can we stop with even entertaining the idea of the latest thing I saw with the max deal, $270 million for what would be a 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37-year-old player. No, thank you. $270 million? No. And it was funny because I put this out last night. I said, oh, can we also start with the conversation about can James Harden save the Sixers? I know he can't. I didn't need these first 2 games to realize he wasn't going to do it. I was optimistic maybe after the game 6 against the Raptors. That's what we did, as I was saying yesterday. Get that guy and you can maybe steal a game here. That wasn't the case. It's forcing things. It's turnovers. It's missed shots on his end. He says it after the game. We'll let you hear from him talking about how just missed shots came down to missed shots. It's not just missed shots. It's also the way you're playing the game. So even though you're not expecting this team to win, even though Furkan Korkmaz is getting more rep than you really want him to get in a game, even though you know the coach should be starting Paul Reed and he's not, even though you know all that should be happening and it's not happening, it's still frustrating, even though you're expecting this team to lose anyway. Because you watch the game with a little bit of hope. Oh, maybe they'll steal this one. Maybe they'll pull this one out from the Heat. Maybe they'll come north to Philadelphia here. Maybe they'll come north from Miami, and they'll actually have a split in this series if all goes right. Well, it didn't. For little spurts, it went right. And then either the Sixers shot themselves in the foot with missed plays, missed shots, bad decision-making by your veteran point guard, James Harden, or whatever it might have been. You just weren't able to put the Heat on the ropes. I don't consider 8 points on the ropes. I consider that's within striking distance. But I don't think the Heat are looking at us, they're within 8 points. Oh, we better do something here. I don't think they were scared at any point in the game. And, again, not that I expected them to win, but when they get close and they start really teasing it a little bit, that's where you think maybe, just maybe, they'll make something happen here. As a team, Sixers, nothing worth bragging about. From beyond the arc, 26.7% from beyond the arc. That's 8 for 30. And then 45% from the floor, 86% from the free throw line. Tobias Harris rallied late, got himself 21 points. James Harden, 20 points. Like, looking at the stat line, this is something that somebody challenged me on Twitter. Chris Paul numbers. James Harden's putting up Chris Paul numbers. If you had Chris Paul numbers, you're happy with that. I don't see how Chris Paul has anything to do with this. Because I would love for James Harden to fall to a Chris Paul type of level of play. I say. I would love for him to, in his mind, lower himself to that where he's not the guy who's going to take over a game with scoring by forcing, by getting to the rim or anything like that. I want him to be a guy that's just going to concentrate on jump shots, taking what the defense gives him if they give him a lane, not trying to beat anybody off the dribble anymore, and then setting up and facilitating for his teammates. Like Tyrese Maxey, for instance. Like Tobias Harris, for instance. That's going to be the better version of James Harden going forward. And although I know we're all crossing our fingers right now for Joel Embiid to play in Game 3, I'm not sure what version of Joel Embiid you're going to get in Game 3, even if he does play. There is some optimism. Our friend John Clark at NBC Sports Philly put it out there yesterday saying that sources from the Sixers say that there is growing optimism about him being available to play in Game 3. I don't know what you're going to get from him. The guy had a broken face a couple of days ago. According to Doc Rivers, and we'll give you the update also in our Rothman locker room report, whatever you get from Joel Embiid, if you get anything, is going to come after he passes protocol. And apparently, he hasn't even passed concussion protocol yet, according to Doc Rivers. He said he's got a lot of steps to go here, and we'll see if he's able to go across them and make those steps come Friday before tip-off. So we'll see how all that plays out. For me, you had to have played the perfect game. You had to have coached perfectly in order to win these games against the Miami Heat. Yes, you had runs here. Yes, you had some optimism. Yes, you had some hope at different parts of this game. But overall, it felt like whenever the Heat needed that big shot, bang, Jimmy Butler drives, gets a little bunny jumper, hits it, squashes any momentum the Sixers have. Tyler Hero comes off the bench, hits a three for you, squashes any optimism that you had growing for the Sixers. So for me, that's really what it came down to last night. And bottom line, I can't say it enough, for all the things that I'm voicing my concerns over, for all the things I'm offering such constructive criticism over, I didn't feel like the Sixers were going to take one of these games in Miami. So they're doing what I thought was going to happen. It's just that when you see them cut it to within 10 in the fourth quarter, it starts to give you a little bit of hope. And they're like, oh, we don't need to keep that going. But to me, you really lost this game between the 10-minute mark and the 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter, where it was James Harden trying to take things over and it not being there and just making bad decisions with the basketball. We'll let you hear from the rest of the squad. Also, we have some Eagles things to play for you as well. We'll hear from Brandon Graham. We'll hear from Jalen Hurts, what Jalen Hurts' offseason regimen has been like, how hard he's working, how he's traveling the country, trying to work on his game. And Brandon Graham is really excited that Jordan Davis is going to be on the defensive line with him. So we'll let you hear from him. Phillies, I watched some of the game. I was concentrating on the Sixers, obviously. But for me, the bats just went absolutely silent last night. Nick Castellanos got the RBI. Nick Castellanos got the ground rule double because of fan interference. I think that fan did him a favor, actually, because I think that would have actually been caught by the right fielder there of the Rangers. But it sucks that he had the home run taken away. But Zach Wheeler was just absolutely dominant. He had a masterful performance on the mound last night. And again, the Phillies bats weren't there. And I really wasn't expecting to say that the Phillies bats weren't there after they went over the luxury tax to bolster this lineup with Nick Castellanos, who has been pretty damn clutch this season, so far in a young season, with Alec Boehm hitting the ball the way he's been hitting as well. Bringing in Kyle Schwarber, already having Bryce Harper, who I think is just getting not healthier and healthier, but worse and worse. Like, it's going to come to a point where this guy's just going to go on the injured list. We're not going to see him for a while. But last night was just a piss-poor example, and it's the second time in less than a week where your offense has given you nothing. Whether it's getting a combined no-hitter against the Mets or getting combined no-hit against the Mets, I should say, or it's a one-run and extra innings performance, not giving any run support whatsoever to your starting pitcher who's pitching his heart out on the mound. So the Phillies drop another one last night. And here's the other thing. The Rangers are a bad baseball team. And now all of a sudden they play the Phillies, and now they got a little bit of streak going. I think that was their fourth win in a row last night, so I'm glad the Phillies can help them out with 2 of their 4 wins in a row. The Phillies are a giving people. Like the Rockies were a giving people, so are the Phillies. Do want to talk about a little bit about the Eagles. A bunch of guys were doing press conferences yesterday, Jason Kelce being one of them. He just went on and on about Cam Jurgens, how much he loves him. Brandon Graham will hear from him. Jalen Hurts will hear from him as well. We heard from A.J. Brown the other day. He's excited to be here. All the great things. Like, everyone is just tickled to death to get things started again with mini camps going on, OTAs at the NovaCare Complex this week. So we'll see how that works out for the Eagles and just hopefully continue to get some good vibes from one team in South Philadelphia at least. Because I saw last night the Eagles conversation started. Our one of our sponsors, PHL Sports Nation, put out there on their Eagles Nation Twitter handle. They put it out there, how we feeling right now, Philadelphia? And some of the answers were fantastic. Basically, they all had to do with the Eagles and when they get underway. It's similar like if the Eagles start out really bad and it's like, all right, how many more days till pitchers and catchers? That's the best thing about having a 4-for-4 sports town. 5 for 5. Let's not forget about those Philadelphia Union. In the first place. But it's a nice feeling to look around and go, all right, well, they're pissing me off right now. So when's the next thing? Okay, cool. Let me tell you, before we get to our Rothman Orthopedics locker room report, let me tell you about Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about my friend Mike Seibert, a retirement income certified professional at Destination Retirement, LLC, and a partner of 1847 Financial, and an advisor for Eagles and Sixers fans only, maybe next year Flyers. When it comes to long-term savings, why are you giving up current enjoyment of your income? The answer is to have income streams in retirement. It only makes sense then to understand how retirement income streams work so that you can direct savings in ways that give you the highest income when you retire. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Is the objective to get to the top, or is the objective to get to the top and then safely back down? That's what the objective is. You want to get back down safely. What good's climbing a mountain? You can't brag about it later. Well, going up the mountain is your accumulation phase, and going back down the mountain is your distribution phase. These are the different phases of your financial life, and each should be addressed separately. This month, let's talk about college planning. We all know how expensive that can be. Let Mike show you an efficient way to help pay for your kids' college and still retire on your own terms. This first step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. You don't want to lose your position on your growth cycle and have to start over. You can't get that time back. Instead, set yourself up with the ability to use vehicles that you can take money out of without starting your growth cycle over again. Find out how your annual retirement savings can help your college savings and how your annual college savings can help your retirement savings. Let Mike set up your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to help navigate through the different phases of your financial life. For questions and set up a meeting with Mike, email him at gobirds@1847financial.com. That's gobirds@1847financial.com. Or call his office at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. You can visit his website also at destinationretirement.com. As always, go Birds and play the song. Let me tell you about Steven Singer. Today's the last day to get it in time for Mother's Day. To order your creamsicle 24-karat gold dip rose, the latest of the Steven Singer gold dip rose brand. Ooh, it's beautiful. Peach petals, sparkling, 24-karat gold dip rose that lasts forever. So don't get mom those flowers at the grocery store that die in a week. Get mom something that will last a lifetime with a true lifetime guarantee and something that will make sure mom remembers forever. That's Steven Singer Gold Dip Roses. They start at just $59. Go to the website, IHateStevenSinger.com right now. Only available at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Let's roll in now to our Rothman Orthopedics post-game report and start off with Doc Rivers giving us an update on Joel Embiid.
I really don't know. I honestly, we talked yesterday, we talked today. You know, new generation FaceTime. I don't know why they FaceTime, but he looked good as far as talking. But there's no. He's got so many steps to go through. I don't think he's cleared any of them right now. So we just have to wait and see.
Great. We're all having a great time. When he said they had gone through, and I'm going to the game on Friday, I'm really looking forward to it. Yes, I'm like everybody. I'm hoping Joel Embiid plays. But to hear that he hasn't gone through any of the steps yet, so he's not through concussion protocol, because that's the thing. It's like, here's what a gamer I think Joel Embiid is at this point. A broken face is not going to keep him off the floor. He can't play if he has a concussion, but he can play if he's got a broken face. Remember the days where we used to call him lazy? Yeah, not no more. Not no. Oh. He's got it. That's the number one hurdle for Joel Embiid is to pass concussion protocol. And I'm not going to believe it until I see him out there on the court for warm-ups. You better believe I'm going to be out there early, and I'm going to be waiting for him. Yeah, I don't care what reports will come out. Oh, Joel Embiid, pass the protocol. He'll play tonight. Okay, yeah, I won't believe it until I see him on the court. But that's the one hurdle that he absolutely has to get over. The broken face is something that he'll cure with his Phantom of the Opera mask that he loves so much. So that's unfortunate that he hasn't gotten over any of those hurdles yet. Hopefully that happens today, if not early tomorrow as well. So let's cross our fingers there. Tyrese Maxey is the guy that is really the only guy on the 76ers squad right now that I have confidence in as being a consistent scorer. I voiced my arguments against why he doesn't need to shoot threes so early in games, and that doesn't seem to be when he's the best version of himself. That's when he seems like he's forcing things, like he was jacking up the threes yesterday. 2 days ago in game one. Don't need that from Tyrese Maxey. I need the guy to dribble, drive, get fouls, go to the line, shoot those little teardrops, whatever it might be. That's the version of Tyrese Maxey that's playing the absolute best. That's what he was doing in the third quarter last night when he went on his own little run and then carried that into the fourth quarter. That's what I want to see from Tyrese Maxey. That's what I need every single night. He dropped 34 points last night for the 76ers, and he did that on 12 of 22 shooting, only 1 for 4 from beyond the arc, 9 of 11 from the free throw line. That's the guy that I see carrying this offense. If James Harden just plays the role of facilitator, like he had 9 assists last night. He would have had more if guys could actually hit shots. So let's not distract from that first, just to pay attention to that for a second. But Tyrese Maxey is the guy that I actually see carrying this offense with consistency. Last night, Maxey talked about kind of what he needed to do in order to keep that momentum going from the second half that he had in this game into games 3 and 4 back at home.
I just tried to be aggressive. I was settling way too much last 2 games, and they switching, and I was backing it up and just get downhill and make a play for myself, make a play for one of my teammates. I kind of figured that out late second, and I kind of just ran with it.
Tyrese, Doc was saying he wasn't very happy with your play in the first half. Was there anything he said to you at halftime or anything to kind of get you going, or is it just all on you at that point?
Yeah, I mean, he talked to me a little bit, just told me to quit settling, like I just said. Like I said, I settled for some tough shots that I didn't need to settle for. And once I figured it out that I can get into the paint almost every single play, it's not always going to be for myself to score. Most of the time it's going to be me kicking it out and getting guys shots. So.
Let's hope that he's able to do all that, because when he does kick it out and those guys hit the shot, things are a lot better. Same thing with James Harden when he drives them. We'll hear from him in a second. But I don't understand. Like, there's got to be some kind of changing of the guard, and I feel like we've all witnessed it already. But James Harden's like trying to fight to hold on to it. If he is still bothered by this hamstring, and he's 32 years old, and he's still trying to find his way in the Sixers offense now again without Joel Embiid. I would, if you're James Harden, stop trying to do more, try to do less. I would do the most basic things you could do, which is just facilitate. Just concentrate on doing that. And your number one targets, number 1 is Tyrese Maxey, number 2 is Tobias Harris. Everybody else is a really bad option right now. George Niang is 1 for 10 in this series from beyond the arc. 1 for 10 from beyond the arc. He's got a knee injury. It's bothered him more than it should, apparently. He's trying to fight through it because he knows there's really nobody else on this bench that's going to step up and hit a shot. Hopefully, he'll catch fire, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Hopefully is a word that gets used a lot when you're talking about a team like the Miami Heat, who's a lot better than this team without Joel Embiid. But that gets back to what I was talking about a second ago when I talk about playing the perfect game. That's what the Sixers have to have. Tyrese Maxey has to have the ball in his hands more. And I give credit to friend of the show, Marcus Hayes, who's asking this line of questioning about Tyrese Maxey getting touches more. And one of the things Doc said after the game was, no, I don't think so. I think they share the ball rather well. They can do a little bit more. Because I actually like the idea of the ball being in the hands of Tyrese Maxey more than it is in James Harden's hands. Because James Harden, for me, is a guy that is past his prime. We've addressed the can't carry the team. We've addressed that he's not going to be worth the $40 to $50 million a year, that a $270 million contract could be paying him. So why am I still going to be relying on him to carry an offense that I don't think he can carry, that I know he can't carry at this point? That ain't worth it. I rather, knowing the Sixers aren't going to win this series, I rather let a guy like Tyrese Maxey grow in his postseason career. I'd rather a guy like Paul Reed on a much lesser scale grow his experience in the postseason. I'd rather see that than James Harden trying to save this team, because I know one thing, James Harden can't save this team. Now, after the game, James Harden was asked about what the difference in this game was versus game one, and really what the difference was in game two and game one between how the Sixers played and how the Heat played.
Shot making, simple. I think the first two games is pretty simple. Like, you fight, you claw, you give yourself chances, but when it comes down to it, you got to make shots, especially on the road against a really good team. It's pretty simple. We got enough stops consistently when we needed to. Had numerous of chances. You know, we make a couple shots, gives us more confidence, and it put more pressure on them. I feel like we never really, put that pressure on them throughout the course of the game.
Now, the first game, you really couldn't say that because the Heat were struggling from beyond the arc as well. But this particular game, to give you the numbers on it, the Sixers, they only shot, as I said earlier, 26.7% from beyond the arc, compared to 48.3% from beyond the arc for the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero last night was still a problem, 3 for 5 from beyond the arc. But he only dropped in 18 points as compared to, the 24, 26 he dropped in game one. You could always, in basketball, talk about missing shots. You can always talk about it. Doc Rivers pointed this out the other day, talking about at the end of games, you wish you could do something different when the guy you chose to shoot shoots and misses. Oh, I should have gone with this other guy, right? You can always do that. In basketball, you can obviously always do that. But sometimes you're not going to be able to control your shot going in or not, maybe like all the time. Sure, you can get hot. Sure, you can work on your shot to give you a better percentage of actually making it, but to say, I'm going to shoot this and make it, not always going to work out that way, unfortunately. But you know what is there? Playing smart and playing heads-up basketball, not forcing things. That's what I've seen too many times from James Harden. I've seen James Harden way too many times stand at the top of the key, dribble around a little bit, dribble between his legs, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You're going to step back. Everyone here knows you're going to do a step-back jumper. And if you try to blow by the guy in front of you, it ain't there anymore. That speed, that extra gear is not there. Hamstring or age, those two things combined do not equal, I'm going to beat this guy off the dribble. Few and far between doesn't actually happen now. Maybe you get that mismatch. Maybe like the mismatch you should have had with Tyrese Maxey at the top of the key with Bam Adebayo, and you didn't capitalize on it. That's the downgrade I need James Harden to go. Like, that's the shift that I need James Harden to make in games 3 and 4 if Joel Embiid doesn't play. If Joel Embiid doesn't play, then it's all going to be about how is he going to play the first 5 minutes. Are you going to know what you're going to have for him or get from him in the remaining games of this series? Or are you going to sit here patiently and wait? Okay, all right, well, he's still not going to be ready for game 3. What about game 4? Game 4? No. Is he going to travel to Miami game 5? No. Not gonna, if there is a game 5, not going to happen. Okay. I honestly, I feel like the series is lost already because whatever version you do get back of Joel Embiid, I don't think it's going to be one that's going to be good enough to help this team beat the Heat. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that I'm wrong on that, but I think most people agree with that, unfortunately. That's what I have for you as far as the Sixers go in the post-game report. I wish that there was a better, more optimistic clip, cut, something to inspire confidence. The best thing I can tell you is Tyrese Maxey said he's got to continue to be more aggressive. Okay. Please work that out. Please work that out with James Harden. And maybe Doc needs to – and he's done this before. And that's what I was waiting for kind of in the fourth quarter. Tyrese Maxey in game 1 – or excuse me, no, game 5. It was more than that. It was game 5 against the Raptors that at the end of that game – Doc Rivers was calling for Tyrese Maxey to run the offense. And you could see James Harden, I don't want to say begrudgingly, like he was like some bad attitude about it, like horrible attitude, but you could see him give the ball to Tyrese Maxey to bring it up and then look over at the bench like, why am I doing this? What's going on? And Maxey was actually getting points for the Sixers. He was actually the guy that still had a spark lit under him. He was the guy that still had some gas left in the tank. I need to see that more of a heavy transition, especially when Tyrese Maxey has really got it going on like he had it going on last night. If he's really going to be the guy carrying this offense, why not give him every opportunity to actually do that? I'm not saying Harden should never touch the ball. I'm saying, to go back to the CP3 comparison, I want him to go back to Chris Paul. Like, I want him to in his mind say, all right, let me just concentrate on jump shots. Let me concentrate on facilitating. Let me concentrate on defense, getting my hands in the paint. Notice I didn't say, or hands in the lane, rather. Hands in passing lanes. Not playing straight up defense. I'm not calling for James Harden all of a sudden start doing that. But I'm talking about when he does get his hand in the passing lane and creates a turnover or something like that. Let me see that. That's what I need to see from James Harden from this point going forward, with or without Joel Embiid. That's the guy I want to see show up and play for the Sixers. But in his mind, he has to kind of play more well within himself than we have seen. Somebody else that we haven't really talked about much is Matisse Thybulle. Last night, Doc Rivers admitted that him missing those games in Toronto has really taken him out of his momentum, if you want to call it that. It's really taken him off his game. And when a guy like Tyler Hero is playing dominant basketball from beyond the arc and basically getting anything he wants, where's Tyrese Maxey? Where's that guy that I think is one of the top tier defenders in the NBA? Where's that guy that everyone tells me about who's going to win Defensive Player of the Year at one point in his career? When's that happening? Where's that guy been? And if Jimmy Butler's starting to go off as well, where's my man? Where's my guy? He's nowhere to be seen. He's either missing threes or he's getting beat defensively. That can't happen. Like, the specialty role player guys now on your team aren't that special, and they're not fulfilling their role. I've talked about George Niang being 1 for 10. Danny Green's another guy you could look at. He's not hitting those corner threes for you. He was 1 for 9 last night, for instance. Matisse Thybulle is not coming off the bench to give you some kind of lockdown defense. Thybulle himself only gave you 21 minutes last night. This is a guy that was starting for you for most of the season. So now I got to rely on Danny Green to be my defensive stalwart and shoot 1 for 9 from beyond the arc. That ain't it, man. By the way, that one shot that he hit last night from beyond, those were his only points in the game. When I talk about a perfect game, I'm talking about Matisse Thybulle going out there and D'ing up hardcore. I'm talking about Danny Green hitting you at least 3 shots from the corner, 3 corner threes. And I'm talking about George Niang hitting 4 to 5 threes in a game. I don't see those 3 things happening. Oh, and of course, then I'm talking about the starters, other than Danny Green. I'm talking about Matisse, Tyrese Maxey taking over. Like, all those things, and James Harden playing within himself. I don't see all those things, all those boxes getting checked in one game without Joel Embiid on this team. That's why I don't see them winning a game in this series. So that, to me, I'm looking at a sweep right now. I'm not feeling a steal one. They're back home. Things are different. I hope that's not the case, but that's what we're looking at right now. That was your post-game report right there, brought to you by Rothman Orthopedics. Before we go any further, I do want to share these with you, just to get away from the Sixers for a second and give you some hope, some optimism. And when I think of hope and optimism, and I think of happiness, I think of Brandon Graham. I wanted to give you a little soundbite of Brandon Graham, just because I could hear the joy in his voice. Like, I can only imagine what it was like to be in the room with Brandon Graham, who, by the way, injury-wise, says he's doing everything in his workout, so no hindrance to him, which is great. But Brandon Graham yesterday addressed the media and talked about Jordan Davis joining the defensive line. This is going to be a lot of fun. Here's Brandon Graham on the rookie joining the squad.
It gives us great depth, together. And so, man, I'm excited for Big Boy, because he's going to be taking 2 or 3 people with him, hopefully, and take a lot off us. And, I just believe that he added more depth for us. And, man, it's going to be a lot of fun bringing them guys once we get everybody up to speed.
Just the smile. He's all of us. He's always all of us, Brandon Graham. I needed that at the end of the day yesterday. I watched the press conferences yesterday, and then afterwards I watched the Sixers. Followed the Phillies. And then I was like, let me just find a clip of Brandon Graham again. Like, I need some good sports juju before I go to sleep. And there it was. It was Brandon Graham just right there talking about Jordan Davis. Big boy. Jordan Mailata is big boy on the offensive line. Jordan Davis, big boy on the defensive line. They got some big fellas. They got some big fellas. Like, I want to see Jordan Davis and Jordan Mailata, like, hang out together and just be like, well, those guys are monsters. Other teams, good luck to you as far as those fellas go. Now the question, The $1 million question for the Eagles is what version of Jalen Hurts are you going to get? Or not really even what version. What step forward? How big will that step forward be for Jalen Hurts? And I think he will take that step forward. It's a question of how big that step will be. The step he needs is undisputed franchise quarterback. With these weapons, things got a little easier on him. The expectation, though, has grown because you're no longer going to be talking about throwing a Rager as often, or J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, or whoever else might be out there. You're going to be talking about throwing to Devontae Smith. You're going to be talking about throwing to A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert again, and hopefully a solid offensive line yet again, and hopefully a decent running game. Hopefully Miles Sanders and Boston Scott and these guys actually put up some decent numbers for you, running the ball out of the backfield, and a few other guys as well. I'm hoping that happens for the Eagles. It's up to Jalen Hurts to make it happen with this offense. It's up to, of course, the head coach and game planner himself, extraordinaire, Nick Sirianni, to make sure that he is dialing up all the right plays at the right time and scheming guys open when he's having trouble getting guys open, whatever it might be. Jalen Hurts, though, has got to put in the work. I have no doubt he'll do that. This is Jalen Hurts talking about his training regimen so far this offseason. Jalen Hurts.
Training approach, in my young career, I've been trying to find out what's my way of doing things in the off season. I've had opportunities to go back to Houston. I've been in Dallas. I've been in Florida. Had the opportunity to go out to Cali. So just a holistic approach of taking the next step as a quarterback, whether that be functioning the offense, running the offense, taking true command of the offense, on the field, in the weight room, what am I eating, how much film am I watching, creating a schedule for myself, and just practicing great discipline in what I do. So I think holistically, it's all been helpful. Doesn't matter where I do that at or what state or who I'm working with. I think it's all been beneficial for me this offseason.
Holistic? Is the last time we heard holistic, is that Thibault? Because that didn't go well. But in all seriousness, that's a guy that's just willing to put away. Like, that's a guy that actually looks in the mirror and sees the moles. Like, that's a guy that looks in the mirror and go, oh, those are my imperfections. Let me see what I can do about those. That's why I don't bet against Jalen Hurts. That's why my expectations are high for Jalen Hurts. I've only gotten higher, Mally, since they've acquired A.J. Brown. That's the only reason. Like, that's why. Because of his work ethic. And the expectations because of who's going to be around in this upcoming season. Can't wait for it. I feel like we're going to need the Eagles to save us, unfortunately. As much as I want to see the Phillies bats turn it around and produce that juggernaut of a lineup that we all talked about before the season started, as much as I want to see that, as much as I'm rooting for it, I ain't going to believe it until I see it. Phillies over that luxury tax, baby. Right now, it ain't paying dividends. So hopefully it does. Hopefully is the theme of today's show. You know what, though? There's no hope involved when it comes to people that just know what they're doing, people you can expect things from. I'm talking about the great people at Rothman Orthopedics. It's called a segue, folks. Hey, remember the old you? The one that didn't have to put up with a fickle knee, a finicky hip, or a shoulder that no longer does what a shoulder should do? The Rothman approach to orthopedics is here to get you back to being you, back to running, back to walking, back to working, back to playing, back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Let me tell you about the amazing people at Freestone Farm CBD. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You want 20% off? How would you like 20% off CBD at checkout? We'll go to FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy for 20% off. How easy is that? This is the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. The best CBD brand because they farm it themselves with all organic inputs, and they offer you some education on what they grow and how they grow it to make the best quality products on the market. I'm sure you've tried a lot of other different brands, but honestly, Freestone Farm CBD is amazing. It's great after working out. It's great to help you fall asleep. It helps relax you, makes you feel a lot better. What's even more exciting, our friends at Freestone Farms just unveiled an all-new strain menu with some supremely good CBD at prices that you'll absolutely love and admire. Check out FreestoneFarmCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com, and you'll find it all right there. The menu is something that you'll absolutely have to check out with strains like their insane tropical Bayox. That's just unreal. It clocks the chart. It clocks in on a chart at chart topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu Kush, at 21%. The genetics of these are absolutely unreal. They grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM as well. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from this farm to jar source. After harvest, they carefully preserve all the plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough, and you'll know CBD is done right from FreestoneFarmCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Once again, use promo code Farzy for 20% off. That's Farzy, promo code Farzy for 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Let me tell you about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing all Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check. Don't want to shortchange you guys on the chat check, so let's get into it. First off, more footage has come out from the Dave Chappelle incident that you guys were talking about yesterday in the chat. Oh my God. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been front row at a concert. I have not. But I have worked a lot of shows. And I guess that guy was able to hop 2 separate fences. Because usually there's the bike rail or the bike rack railing type deal. And then there's like 5 feet of space, 6 feet of space, and then the stage. And in that little separation there's usually security. This guy was able to just jump on and tackle a comedian. And yes, his arm was shaped like a Z by the time that was done. Now more footage is out on it. It's absolutely bonkers. Kevin, good morning. Dan Schwartz, good morning. Mally, what's happening? Sean, Kevin, what's going on? Appreciate you guys waiting patiently for the show to start today. Sean Gillespie, Duck is definitely delaying this show. He's tired of all the tattoo hair talk. He's very self-conscious. Hey, he was in different lighting the other day, and it looked like real hair. All right, just in his defense. Mullet, hello again. Good morning. Mally, what's going on? Mike Fuji. Can Joe Girardi and Duck be gone at the same time? I think we all hope so at this point. Like, here's the deal, though. Girardi's at least on the final year of his deal. Like, he's a lame duck manager. So if they don't do well, they'll know at the end of the season whether or not to go interim manager, or towards the end of the season, even to go interim manager and get the head start on the managerial searches, or he'll earn another year or two, which I know nobody's really rooting for. But come on, you really want to go through another manager search? Like, I always want to believe that the guys can turn it around. Like, I always want to believe that. I'll always root for that, but as I always say, I'm not betting on it. April, good morning. Clay, what's going on? We get to suffer, get a short show because you dropped the bong water on the laptop again, says Mally. Clay, you thank you, Pascal's. Clay says, thank you, Pascal Siakam, you friggin' jerk. That's what I'll say. Mally, what is Duck's infatuation with Andrew Bynum 2.0, a.k.a. DeAndre Jordan? You know, I had another comparison. This rattles around in my brain maybe more so than any conversation I had with a sports talk caller ever. I was listening to, this might even before, I think I was in college, and a caller called in and said, what is Larry Brown's infatuation with Derek Coleman? And this caller said that he had been emailing with Phil Jasner, the incredible Sixers beat writer, incredible writer for the Daily News for all those years. I only had the pleasure of meeting the man once, and he was just awesome. Just everything you would want him to be. And the late Phil Jasner replied to this fan's email and said, every coach has a blind spot. And Derek Coleman is Larry Brown's blind spot. Although I think Doc Rivers has far more blind spots than Larry Brown, DeAndre Jordan is a blind spot. So that's the way I sum it up for guys that I think just don't get it. And I've known some brilliant people, and I've applied this to other walks of my life outside of sports, and I'm like, wow, I've known some brilliant people that have blind spots. That just, for whatever reason, this one thing never works, but it worked. Oh no, I'll show you this works. Andy Reid's one of those guys, and he was in Philadelphia for a long time. When it came to running the football, balancing the attack, maybe not having Donovan throw so many short throws and the West goes on. That's a blind spot. No, this will work. Maybe, but not the long term, I guess, for that particular quarterback. It worked when he got T.O. That worked pretty damn well. But for me, I think a lot of people have blind spots in their way of thinking, and coaches have blind spots in the form of players. And I think DeAndre Jordan is that blind spot for Duck Rivers, apparently. The more Harden plays, the more and more I'm liking Tobias Harris's game. Mally, that's a great point. Alyssa, what's going on? Is Joji really Duck in disguise? He could be. He could be. Dan Schwartz, anybody ever have to hold their charger in 19 different ways to get their phone to charge? I hate that. Anyway, I wonder if Jay Wright would possibly be the next Sixers head coach. I don't think that happens so quick. I think that happens down the line, and Jay has certainly left that open for all the people that want to talk. There's no way Jay Wright would want to coach babies in the NBA. Yeah, okay. Here's $50 million. Go coach my team. Dawn Staley. I really like the idea of Dawn Staley coaching in the NBA. Real time. Please let Dawn Staley dominate NCAA. She has a chance to be really the best ever. The Sixers are not going to waste Joel's prime on Dawn Staley experiment. Fans would lose it. Not if she's really good. Real time. Let's see here. I bought a roast for my wife years ago. There you go. Real time. Hope she's enjoying it. Clay, I bet Mark doesn't hate Steven Singer. I love Steven Singer. I love that man. But the only way he can tell me to hate him is if he puts it in his ad. That's the only way. And he's brilliant. I can't say it enough. Every time I got a lot of text messages from friends that are from out of town. Like whenever Sunday Night Football comes into town, it didn't happen a lot this past year. But whatever they do, and they always see the billboards, what's with this guy again? What's his deal? And I'm like, he's brilliant. You're Googling him. He's talked about because he's hated, but he's really loved. Thibault, who that? Mally, I know, right? Who's that guy? Sean Gillespie, one shot Thibault has to go. Oh, Dan, to answer your question, yes, that's how you know you need a new phone. Or you need to clean out that little thing right there for your phone. This is Hi. Welcome to Phone Talk with Mark Farzetta. Here's what I have for you. Maybe if you take a little of those keyboard cleaner things and try to get the dust out, or even take a little small set of tweezers, like needle nose tweezers, and go in there and try to remove some dust. That might help you charge your phone a little bit better. Also, you might want to check to see if your phone wire itself that you insert into your phone, your charging wire, you even might want to check and see if that's scratched up, because sometimes only one side of it will work. Thanks for listening to Tech Talk with Mark Farzetta. For the people on the podcast, I just did my podcast voice for Tech Talk with Mark Farzetta. All right. I swear BG is genuinely happy all the time. Yeah, pretty much. Clay, that happens to be you. That's cool, Clay. I would like CBD, but I'm already on. Oh, okay. April, the guy that Chappelle's crew beat down on needs Rothman. Needs a lot more than that. Dan, I think I know where you're going for that. I think I know where you're going there. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome, as per usual. Let's jump into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Sixers, they're back in action after their 119-103 loss to the Heat with Game 3. They're back at that tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in South Philadelphia. That game will be on ESPN. The ESPN crew will have that game. We'll see how all that plays out, and we'll see if Joel Embiid, who hasn't gotten through anything yet, we'll see if he can get through concussion protocol. We'll see if he can get his face fixed, see if he can get fitted for a proper face shield, whatever it might be, and we'll see how that goes for Joel Embiid in the coming hours. Hopefully it's something that goes down in the very near future. Phillies, after dropping now 3 in a row and 2 of 2 to the New York Rangers, hey, it only gets easier. Guess what's happening next? The New York Mets come to town starting tonight on Cinco de Mayo. Tonight, Aaron Nola will be on the hill against Taijuan Walker. That's a 6:45 start time again tonight in South Philadelphia. The Mets coming to town 18-9 on the season. The Phillies just 11-14. Keep your fingers crossed that some good things happen in South Philly tonight. Let's get another great pitching outing from Aaron Nola, and let's get some bats woken up tonight. We need some good vibes in South Philly other than the Eagles being at the Novacare Complex. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My apologies again for starting off late today. For some bonus me, let's go to Fox 29. You can watch me on Fox 29 today at 7:45, talking all things sports with Alex and Mike Jarek. So make sure you guys don't miss that as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Email my man Mike Seibert at GoBirds at 1847financial.com for your retirement information. And also coming to you live as we do every day from the I Hate Steven Singer Studios. Thanks to Jim Hyde, who produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. I'm Mark Farzetta. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.